Geek Out! Hey, and welcome to another installment of Catching Up. I'm Sam.
I'm Chris.
I'm Jake.
And we've got our first interview in triplicate. Yeah, this week.
we are this close to having theater in the round.
Yeah, God, that's the next step. That's the next step. So we're going to be talking to the entire creative team of the Image comic series Cannibal, which is out everywhere in comic book shops and on Comixology on Wednesday, October 5th. They are, the writers are Brian Buccellato and Jennifer Young, and the artist is Matias Bergara. Without much further ado, here they are talking about the book. And joining us this week, we've got Brian Buccellato and Jennifer Young talking about their Image comic series Cannibal. The first issue comes out Wednesday, October 5th, just in time for Halloween.
Yes.
Which is apropos, because this is very much a horror book.
Yep.
Brian, Jennifer, thanks for coming on the show.
Hey there. Thank you.
Thanks.
So, between this and Sons of the Devil, you've really got all the horror stuff down, though. I mean, Sons of the Devil is more of this kind of cult story, whereas this is kind of this slow-burning pandemic, or at least slow-burning for now. What is it that kind of has drawn you to the horror genre lately?
I'm not sure, really. I guess Jennifer, mostly. She's a really big horror fan, and I think my working with her, she edits Sons of the Devil, has sort of pushed my normal crime, thriller, noir tastes into the horror realm.
Yeah, and I got into horror when I saw Poltergeist as a child, and then was reintroduced to all the intricacies and, just really how smart horror can be when I took a horror genre film class in college, and I haven't stopped.
Nice.
We live right outside Washington, D.C., and when I was about 5 years old, my father took me to Georgetown, where the Exorcist steps are, and then afterwards he showed me The Exorcist.
Yeah, right.
I guess that's better than doing it the other way.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Why are you doing this to
You
me?
don't know what you're in for.
Yeah.
Was it like nighttime with like a single lamp and like foggy, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, Max von Sydow was there.
He just hangs out there all the time.
Yeah. No, it was during the day, but
Oh man.
It was a formative experience, probably for all the wrong
That's
reasons
fantastic.
in my childhood. Now, something that we ask everybody that comes on the show, we asked, I guess, like Tim Seeley and like basically everybody that writes a horror book. Are you guys more team Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, or Freddy Krueger?
Leatherface.
Oh, we've had that before. We've had
He's
Leatherface.
So fancy. You should choose your own, Brian. That's not fair.
Okay, I'm Michael Myers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Michael Myers is like a clean sweep with everybody almost that we ask, which is
Except
awesome.
for the Leatherface.
Well, Leatherface. Yeah,
No, we
Leatherface.
had a Pinhead one.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The spread guys were all about Pin.
Pinhead. Yeah, Leatherface and Michael Myers. Nice.
I choose Leatherface, but I do have to say that Jason Voorhees has been more consistent. Tonally, and he's got the most kills, so he's a close second to.
By
Leatherface.
almost 100 kills too. Like he racks
I think it's
them up.
111.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, whereas like Freddy only has like 30 total kills amongst his 9 movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
But he has the quality.
does he even get credit for the Nightmare on Elm Street 2 kills? Well, yeah, he's possessing the dude, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a possession. It's still him.
Okay.
It's not like that one Friday the 13th where it's just a
The New Blood?
yeah, where it's just a copycat.
Oh, right. But yeah, so so you guys been in the horror kick lately? Yeah, okay. But to kind of to touch it back to Cannibal, obviously there's this idea that this hurricane disturbed something that was kind of festering under the mud of the bayou in the Everglades. What was it that, and this isn't like a zombie story at all, despite people eating other people. Like there's clear like regret, and there isn't like this isn't like a 28 days later scenario, at least as of yet. What did you want to kind of tell? How did you really want to approach this kind of cannibalistic kind of horror story differently and everything?
How did you know about the hurricane?
It's in the first page.
It's in the
Oh, it's in the preview thing.
yes.
Okay.
No, there's a little paragraph on the credits page, I believe.
Okay.
Yes.
Just checking. So I thought it was a deep dark secret. It's not. I think what I'd like to accomplish, and I'm glad that you bring up a zombie thing, because this isn't like that. And as you could probably tell, like, the cannibals, they think and they feel and they have remorse. Most of them, you'll definitely meet some that don't have remorse. But it's, everyday people just like you and I. And the real horror of the story is that, what do you do if one of your loved ones gets this virus? Like,
yeah, it's like the world's worst, not sexually transmitted disease, but it's the world's worst disease. It's something that makes people, overcome with the need to eat others, but afterwards they feel really bad about it. So, it puts everyone on edge. It puts, your neighbors on edge. It puts family members on edge. It's definitely the type of thing that takes over a whole town, and obviously this takes place in a small town. So for us, it's an anti-zombie story. It's a story about people and how they interact with each other.
And I think there'll be a lot of, visually, it's definitely a horror story, but, it's not, I don't want it to be a gory horror story. Like, you've seen some blood, in some of the pages. It's not going to be gory. It's not going to be full of tropes, because, ultimately the real horror is, you're in a small town and these people you've known for all your entire life, and you have to suddenly change who you trust and discover what the real meaning of family is.
It's kind of like, it reminds me of, say, Revival, where it's all those small town pressures are already there, and this just exacerbates and dials everything up to 11, so to speak. So I assume we're going to see a lot of those kind of like a lot of that small town intrigue really inform the future of the story.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely a story about community and family with this, sort of horror genre twist.
I thought you were going to say Twin Peaks for a second, because we've talked to a number of people who keep saying, "Oh, so it's sort of like Twin Peaks." I had to go watch Twin Peaks because I didn't know what to say to that.
Oh man,
I don't think it's like Twin Peaks. That's my feeling.
I mean, there's not too many cannibals in Twin Peaks.
I'm going to say if you like Twin Peaks, then yes, it's like Twin Peaks.
If you don't like Twin Peaks, it's nothing like Twin Peaks.
That's perfect, yeah. That should be on the front of the book and the back of the book, just in case.
Well, I remember, while I mentioned Revival earlier, we were talking to Tim Seeley and Mike Norton about that book, and we were just like, always like, hey, it's like Twin Peaks, and both of them were like, haven't actually...
Never seen.
Yeah, just like shot, but that conversation line just right down.
Next note, okay.
Maybe that's everyone's go-to move, is to say something's like Twin Peaks.
Yeah, we'll hit somebody once and they'll be like, yes, it's exactly like Twin Peaks.
I was totally ripping off Twin Peaks, and I'm kind of upset that you figured that out.
Yeah. We need to get David Lynch on the show.
Yeah, right.
Talk about Mulholland Drive.
I have read some Revival, and I'm honored to have the comparison. So
yeah, it's good stuff.
So, how did this story you kind of alluded as much, you wanted to do this kind of family drama-esque, small-town drama against this very slow-building cannibalistic horror overtones, but how did you guys kind of crack the story overall?
It was actually Jen's original idea that she's had for a number of years. So, she could talk about its origin. I can tell you how we got to the image portion of it, but up until then, it was kind of her bag.
So yeah, I think it was like 2010, and I had this experience with a friend, and it was a really great and healthy relationship, and it was at the time, one of the greatest people I thought I'd ever meet. And then that person just disappeared, and, sometime later I found out that they had completely changed their life, stopped talking to family, stopped talking to friends, and I was so overwhelmed with, I literally felt like that person was wearing a mask, and I was so overwhelmed with how they had completely changed, and I was hurt. Like, you really you have no idea if you know someone, and it was that sort of like trust that I had put so completely into another human being, and I ended up being wrong. And that was something that I couldn't have predicted. And the story sort of grew from there about relationships and trust and, who we really are under the surface when, for lack of a better phrase, when shit hits the fan.
Kind of in the face of like a cataclysmic event, like a a cannibalistic pandemic.
Right.
in so many words.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone got eaten in your past.
No.
Right. But yeah, so I think she kind of had been talking about this idea for a long time,
and then obviously I love horror, so I knew how this story it was a poem, it was prose, it was all the writing classes I was taking in undergrad, and then when I met Brian and he knew exactly how to work a comic book, and I'd always dreamed of having a comic book, and so it was my story mixed with his, basically here's how we do it. And obviously he's a really great storyteller himself, so it's so much easier to come up with an idea in an entire world when you have somebody bouncing ideas with you back and forth.
Yeah, man, what appealed to me mostly about the idea was, obviously there's a personal connection to her, but even from a sort of a genre, big picture, was the idea of, a cannibal virus where, the people who have it aren't these mindless, crazy 28 Days Later or Walking Dead or, any number of zombie-type tropes.
But we love those.
Yeah, it's not to discount them, but it's just a different take on something. So, like I hadn't seen that before, and it was really interesting to me. So I think that's kind of why I was all sort of in favor of doing this as my next project.
Why set it in the Everglades? What was it about that setting that really, kind of spoke to the story or complemented the story?
It's awesome.
There you go.
And terrifying. Okay, so I am from Florida. I grew up in Florida, and it's Florida, and people can say what they want about Florida, but I feel like I had such an amazing childhood because of the time I got to spend outdoors, and it was like a really exciting thing to go over to my grandma's house and go to the creek behind her house and like try to see the gators, despite how freaking dangerous that is and how I would never go near the creek now. But getting to do all of those things and live in that world, and it was, it's such a lush and toxic environment that I felt like, for whatever reason, I wanted to either pay an homage or have the opportunity to revisit narratively.
Yeah, and we'll also think narratively, there's a couple things that it does for us. I mean, Florida is a state where it's an open carry state, and so I think the idea that the virus, would approach these small towns, which obviously our town of Willow is very small. You already have the element of guns as part of the culture, so that could lead to sort of any number of stories. And I think also with Everglades, we're actually co-writing a feature horror script that takes place in the Everglades. So I think the more work that we've done on the Everglades, the more interesting it is to me personally to write something that I don't necessarily know that well.
And if you're going to ask this, it's going to be a B slasher horror movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Titled Everglades.
It's the best kind.
Yeah.
Well, there's this sense that, like with the Everglades, that especially with towns like in or bordering the Everglades, that the town is almost completely overtaken by nature itself, or nature certainly hasn't been tamed. And I suppose we're kind of seeing more. I'm getting it all literary, artsy-fartsy, because that's just what I do. Like, there's this idea that the feral nature. This is kind of a feral nature being awakened in Willow and everything.
Right. Well, I mean, that makes sense, and like Brian said, it sort of adds to the small townness of the whole story, and it adds to the environment that these cannibals need to sort of find out, who they are and what they're going to do with themselves. Like, it's not like they're in New York City and you get off the one train and somebody's eating someone else.
Yeah, I mean, there's a version of that story, but that's just not,
of course,
the one that we decided to tell.
It's real life.
Yeah.
I've ridden the queue.
Yeah, I grew up in New York.
Yeah.
It's all right. I lived there for a couple years. I know what's up.
I got family in Kew Gardens. We're cool. But when can we expect? I mean, now that you've kind of teased it out. When can we expect Everglades too? Like, when's that hitting?
I'm not sure. I mean, we're halfway through the script. Like many things in life, there's all these projects you want to work on, and it's a lot about sort of moving the pieces and shuffling and going from one project to another. So it'll happen at some point. I don't know when.
It's also, for me, it's about, I enjoy being a writer. I sometimes don't know how great I am, which is why I'm, thankful to have a writing partner. But I feel like my taste is better than my writing. And I'm sure that's something that writers, struggle with, and that will always be the case. My taste will get better and my writing will get better. But it's also about accepting that we're writing a B slasher movie, and like, we're going to, as sophisticated as our palettes are, especially in the horror genre, this is going to be a B movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's also, something that we want to shoot. So it's not like I just want to write the script and then, there's going to be a million people wanting to pay for the script of this killer in the Everglades. So it's more of a long-haul journey that hopefully at some point we'll be able to revisit on this show.
We would love to have
awesome.
you guys on. Yeah, totally.
I went to film school if you need help.
Can you hold the boom?
I can. I'm a very tall person. I can hold it. I can hold it very high.
You're what, 6'4"?
6'8".
Sorry, my bad. I robbed you 4 inches.
You did.
So you'd be a terrible camera operator.
I don't know. I can keep it pretty stable for motion shots, though, and I
Where
can
did
hold
you
it
go to
low.
film school?
There's a school just outside of D.C. called the Art Institute of Washington. It's kind of a fast food film school, but I got it.
Rogue school.
Yeah, but I got
it's like the Chick-fil-A of the fast food.
Right.
So it's like the best of
Right.
the fast food.
right. It's not like the what is that place?
Closed on Sundays.
Closed on Sundays, damn
Yeah.
it.
It's not like the like New York Film Academy, that place that's like just outside of like Union Square. That's like the McDonald's of film school.
Yeah.
That's where I went.
I feel like that's the Shakey's.
I'm just kidding.
The Shakies.
It's the Carl's Jr.
Did you guys? How much were you guys able to look at? Did we send you like 3 issues or?
No, they only sent us the first one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Numero uno.
they haven't. I'd have sent you.
I mean, you've got the email, man.
This way, I will send you 2 and 3.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Yeah. I guess we'll just include that with a review.
Yeah.
Kind of do it like TV does with like the first like crop of episodes.
That's
Ooh, nice. So, I do
planning out a show on our show.
Yeah. I have to ask then, Jennifer, do you prefer writing over editing?
Oh, hell yeah. Sorry, am I allowed to say?
Yeah, no, say whatever you want.
Say whatever the fuck you want.
There, we got our R rating.
I think I prefer writing, especially for this case, because it's Cannibal and it's, ultimately it is my first child, and, I'm very passionate about it. I am equally as passionate about Sons of the Devil because I was there from the inception of that as well, but I feel like I know these people. I feel like they're people I grew up with. Not that I knew people that ate people, but the characters and like everything I said about, being in Florida, and I really feel like I feel like I have more control, Brian.
Well, of course. I mean, I think it's a passion project of hers. She, it originated with her. So
I get the final say in Cannibal, and Brian gets the final say in Sons of the Devil.
Oh,
that's true.
That's fair.
That's good.
That's compromise, man.
It's compromise. Also, I don't know if you noticed, we did a short film for Sons of the Devil a couple of years ago as part of a Kickstarter. So
you can watch it.
You can watch it at your leisure.
Oh, nice.
Do you do the? I assume since you guys are in the same like kind of comic scene, you both write for Image. You both did DC work and films work. Do you guys kind of pal around with Kyle Higgins? Because I think he just finished another short film too.
Yeah, actually, Jen, this is her first comic book, but Kyle's one of my best buddies, so I pal around quite a bit. And I was an extra in the Shadow Hours, but apparently I ended up on the cutting room floor.
Darn.
I was the waitress in the Shadow Hours.
Okay.
And me and Kyle are better friends than me and Brian. I mean, than Brian and Kyle. No, I met Kyle through Brian, but I've known them the same amount of time, and we do hang out often. He fell asleep on my couch yesterday.
Oh, well, that's true.
That's
friendship.
true.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
Kyle did a lot of the post for our short film.
Yeah, for some.
He's pretty much a badass when it comes to all things film related.
Well, apparently his like mentor in like film school was like Tom Mankiewicz. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
pretty good, right?
That doesn't get much better than the script doctor himself. And I always feel bad because, kind of to go even. I mean, we've already been behind the scenes. We're already telling how we're going to do the review. For this fucking book. But we work a lot of the image cons, and Jake always, without fail, whenever Kyle shows up, has to add. Like,
Well, he mentioned once on Twitter that he loves the Batman '89 Michael Keaton film, and that's like in my DNA, in my bones. When I was a kid, like that's what got me in the comic books and Batman and Michael Keaton and just everything. So every time I see him, I'm always like Batman '89. Like I tried to convince him to write like he could just do this,
just snap his fingers.
Well, I remember I was like, you should do everyone's doing like the Batman '66 comic book. I was like, you'd be the perfect guy to do a Batman '89 comic book. We could see, Harvey Dent,
Billy
D. Williams to become Two-Face. And I think now, whenever he sees me, he's like, Jesus Christ, I used to like Batman '89.
Now I just hate.
Yeah,
Jake.
he just turns around and runs because I was like, hey, what do you think about Batman '89? Like nothing's changed since we talked. The movie's been out for 30 years almost.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
Obviously, it's not up to him.
Yeah. Tell Kat that I'm just canceling all my signings at the booth today.
That's right. Yeah, that's me. That's the Batman '89 kid.
Now, I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up. Brian, every time we have somebody that writes The Flash, I got to ask. Jennifer, you can totally chime in too. But who is your favorite Flash villain? Because unlike Batman, where you can be like, oh, it's the Joker, or Superman, where it's like, it's totally like...
Metallo.
Yeah, Silver Banshee.
For me, my favorite to write probably is Captain Cold, but my favorite villain is Grodd.
Nice.
I'm a huge fan of Planet of the Apes and King Kong, and so my ape love is it's strong and runs deep, and so Grodd is probably my favorite.
I guess
My only chiming in is I have the exact same answer for the exact same reason because I'm a huge King Kong fan.
Sure. Even the Jeff Bridges one. Okay, all right.
Oh my gosh,
In
that's
all
my
its
favorite.
forms.
That's my favorite one. I grew up on that.
How
I'm not
dare
kidding.
you
I used to watch it.
sarcastically say that, Sam? It's the best one.
It does have like...
Wasn't Sarah Connor in one of them?
She was in King Kong
2, right?
2,
Yeah.
King Kong Lives.
Yeah.
Nice.
Where they
Not a
fi-
great film,
It
but
was amazing. They have the King Kong baby.
King Kong baby. That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
that Skull Island trailer looks awesome.
It
I cannot
does.
wait.
I'm
Yeah.
so stoked for that. Yeah, I mean, it's Tom Hiddleston can do like no wrong after seeing like The Night Manager and everything, and of course Brie Larson.
Yeah, well, she's huge. She's blowing up.
Yeah.
What did you?
She had this fun little movie Room.
Yeah.
Yeah, the feel good movie of 2015.
Yeah.
Totally.
Oh man. Oof. Yeah. What did you guys think of? What do you guys think of the new Planet of the Apes stuff? The rise and dawn of Planet of the Apes.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's different than your old stuff, but I think that's good.
Definitely. Because I remember when the trailer for Rise of the Planet of the Apes came out with James Franco, every time the trailer would play, everybody would like laugh, like this is ridiculous, who cares? And my mom wanted to go see it because she loves James Franco and General Hospital. So she probably doesn't know Planet of the Apes existed, but she just knew James Franco was in it.
Yeah, big
And
Fly Boys fan. Then.
Yeah, right. Fly Boys. So we went to go see it, and like I was blown away at how good Rise of the Planet of the Apes was. And then Dawn of the Planet of the Apes comes out and it just tears it up and is amazing. And I guess the next one is War of the Planet of the Apes. Is that the
out next year?
next year? Oh, I can't wait. They're so great. I love those movies.
And to me, that's an example of how you can take an old property and reimagine it in the right way.
Absolutely.
The real
Doesn't happen
question,
often, but when it does, it's nice.
the real question is, how do you feel about the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes?
Then he made one.
He made a film called Batman '89. I don't know. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, Batman Returns.
Yeah,
I think Kyle Higgins likes
Yeah.
Batman.
I'll have to tweet about it. Oh boy.
Yeah,
You're gonna find
I'm a
out
huge
you were
fan of the
blocked.
Mark Wahlberg version.
That's why they won't respond to any of my requests for Hadrian's Wall, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You have to go through his publicist, man.
Yeah. Just don't bring up like Batman.
Don't bring up Batman '89.
Yeah.
Do it.
No, what you do is you start out by saying that you want to talk about how awesome Shadow Hours was, and then boom, he'll respond.
Yeah.
And then you slip in some Batman '89.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think of
Man, it was so good. It was like Batman '89, and it just hangs up.
Yeah. Classic.
Yeah. So something we ask everybody that comes on the show, guys, what are you currently geeking out over?
For me, it's The Night Of.
I've heard that's really good. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
It's really short. It's only 8 episodes. Mm-hmm. It's just really good. It's the season of True Detective that we should have gotten. The season 2 that we never got.
Oh boy, yeah. Oof. Season 2. What a
and
weird.
then Stranger Days is the other one.
It's actually called Stranger Things.
Stranger Things.
So you don't get a second.
What do you think this is? Some kind of D. Snyder?
Stranger Days is
No, the Oliver Stone, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's Strange Thing or Strange Land. Am I thinking?
There's Strange Days with Ray Fiennes.
Yeah, no. D. Snyder made a horror movie.
D. Snyder did make a horror movie
called like Strange Land.
Was there any Twisted Sister in it?
Just him. It was all about how he was like some sort of like BDSM serial killer thing. It was
so it's like the Hellraiser sequels.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Stranger Things, sweet. Are they?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, that's when
they walked away.
Yeah.
that was they're a Batman.
Yeah, they were like.
I don't even know how many of you there are.
There's 3 of us, but there probably sounds like there's like 15 of us because we're just speaking crazy and
talking
laughing a
all
lot.
over
Yeah,
ourselves
In tongues.
yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You just keep adding people.
Every episode.
We tried that once.
Yeah. It's,
Get a laugh track.
oh yeah.
I tried that once too.
Yeah.
It came off too like Facts of Life. We decided to like maybe not do that.
Yeah, there was no Joe.
What
So.
are you guys geeking over?
Oh God, we usually don't get asked that.
I know.
Yeah.
The tables are turned.
Like, one other time we've been asked that.
I did just finish Stranger Things, and it was just the best. I mean, it's one of those few examples where the hype, everyone goes crazy for it, and it just totally deserves all of it. And I also just recently watched the show Winona Earp on Sci-Fi. That
all because of the CBDLF party.
Yeah, and we like Sam was saying, we work the image booth at San Diego Comic-Con. We were at the CBDLF party or CBLDF party, and it was a totally different party.
You don't even know.
LGBT.
Yes, ACDC.
Elemental P party. Yeah.
Yes, the Elemental P party.
BBQ.
And when we were up there, yeah, when we were up at the party, one of the people who works they usually help with like signing the wristbands and getting the signing at Image Comics as well, was like, holy shit, the Winona Earp cast is like right over there. And it was one of those moments where it was like out of an 80s film where like everybody just parted, like they all like moved out of the way.
And Dreamweaver started
yeah,
singing.
And it zoomed in, like, and everybody in the cast is good looking, like every single person, male and female, is good. And so, and I remember I was like, why have I not watched this show? One, because of that, and two,
because they're too intimidatingly good looking.
Well, no, but like two, like I love Wyatt Earp related things, and so
we do have very weird niches here.
Yeah, and so the Wyatt Earp podcast is coming, but I went home and I watched it all on iTunes. It's like a Buffy Western Buffy present day kick-ass TV show.
Okay. And Winona Ryder's not in it.
No, she's not.
No.
Okay.
No. That's why I had to watch Stranger Things instead
Yeah.
to get my Winona Ryder kick.
Yeah, Star Trek 2009 wasn't enough. She's only in like 2 scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm speaking of Star Trek, I'm actually watching Star Trek The Next Generation for the first time pretty much ever. And it's going pretty good. I'm about halfway through the series. Enjoying that.
Yeah,
I feel like
halfway through the series, so they have the better uniforms now.
Yes.
They don't have the ones.
No.
The better episodes too.
Yeah. The better just everything, pretty much.
Did Riker separate the Enterprise yet? Spoiler.
Yes. Where he's in control because Picard is elsewhere, and he in order to like sneak around a thing, he has to separate the Enterprise.
To me, that was the moment he became a man.
Yeah.
On the show.
It was a good
He
episode.
was kind of like a whiny bitch up until that point.
Yeah. Now he's a manly man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the beard envy. On that.
Oh God, he looks so weird without a beard.
Yeah,
Like my introduction to Star Trek in general was Star Trek Generations, and like so I had seen the movies, and I ended up watching all the movies before ever seeing any of the TV shows, but like I see this man. He's got a beard until what, the last movie he shaves it?
Insurrection,
Yeah.
second to last.
So like I've seen him without a beard, but like for the most part I'm still like, oh, this guy has a beard. And then like I watched the first season of Star Trek and I'm like, the fuck is this guy with his weird ass chin? Going around telling people he's Riker. Riker has a beard. He's a man.
Did they recast?
What is this, like the pilot for the original series where it's not even like William Shatner is the captain?
He played Pike, yeah.
Love me some Jeffrey Hunter.
Did you see the episode? One of my favorite episodes is one where it's the Enterprise. In Next Generation, is it C or D? Which one are they on?
D?
Or is it?
It's D,
You're
and
right.
then D gets destroyed at the end of Generations.
Yeah.
Spoilers for a 25-year-old movie, and gets replaced, or not quite that old, 22-year-old movie.
I think there's one where they visit Enterprise with C. It's like a time loop.
Oh yeah, where they go through or where the
Yesterday's Enterprise.
Yeah, Yesterday's Enterprise, where the C I think comes through a time loop and then alters the future so that
They have to destroy it at the end, right?
They have to let the Romulans just blow the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great episode. I haven't seen that in 20 years, but I love that episode.
That's a good episode. The Netflix has all of the remastered ones, so like it's all pretty and the closest to like Blu-ray quality they can have it, and the special effects have been updated slightly. It's really nice. Like all the like matte paintings and miniatures that they use are still there. It's just anytime they use like old shitty CGI has been updated with newer, nicer looking CGI. So I appreciate it as someone that I guess never saw the originals. I can understand maybe someone who was watching it on air is like, I don't like the high quality CGI. It's not as
well,
bad.
when it came out, I'm old enough that I remember when it aired the first time, and I thought it was good, quality at the time.
Yeah, I remember as a young lad, I caught a couple of the latter seasons because I was mostly watching cartoons while it was on.
Yeah, I mean, I watched Star Trek, a good deal of Star Trek Next Gen, like on air for the first time, and I remember, between season 3 and 4 that summer, everyone was like, "What happens to Captain Picard?" There's like all those promo images of him getting where he gets Borged, and I remember that was like Who Shot Mr. Burns level. It was pretty.
Oh yeah,
it was pretty big.
It's funny that it's for you. It's Who Shot Mr. Burns, because obviously that's based off Who Shot JR.
Yeah. I'm not quite that far, but yeah, I'll get
who.
When I was really little, my dad took me to visit the Ewing farm in Texas.
Oh,
that's how old I am.
Is he so a big Dallas fan then?
At the time, I was. I guess I wasn't that old, but yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. What am I geeking out over? I don't know. I've been playing Super Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo, which is just there. I mean, I don't really... I mean, so we got Brian on Stranger Things and the night before. Jennifer, what are you geeking out? Are you just doing geeking out on the same things?
Well, I am geeking out on Stranger Things, but I want to pick something different because I don't want the same answer as Brian. So
just like
I'll tell you what I've geeked out on like in the last year. I think Fargo, the TV series, is the best TV series ever, both seasons. I think it's just phenomenal.
With Bruce Campbell as Reagan.
Yeah. and I really loved The Witch that came out earlier this year.
I need to see that.
Yeah. You totally do.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to.
About it, just yes.
I'm looking forward to the new Fede Alvarez movie, Don't Breathe, that comes out on Friday.
Yes.
That looks pretty good.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Everyone should see horror movies on opening weekend just to support the horror community, because that's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw Lights Out recently. It was all right.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of It Follows?
It was really good. I like that a lot. I mean, obviously, there's technically it's not the greatest film, and The acting is not the greatest, but I think overall, for what it was, I thought it was a really unique take, and I liked it a lot.
I love the actress who's in that. Did you guys see The Guest? She was also in The Guest.
I did not.
No, I haven't seen The Guest.
Oh, you got to see The Guest.
Yeah, Guest.
It's like a horror movie meets Captain America.
It's
Oh,
like
shit.
Michael Myers meets Captain America.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Is Chris
I don't
Evans
see
in it?
anymore
Yeah.
with the strong 80s vibes. So
Oh,
you
my
obviously
God.
like Stranger Things.
Yeah,
Immediately watch The Guest.
that's on the list. That and The Witch.
Yeah.
Or the
Yeah.
Vivitch.
The Vitch, yeah, the two
Vivitch.
V's.
Oh my God. I work at a movie theater, and we had The Witch, and it was so annoying. People coming up like, "Can I see the Vitch?" It's like, oh my God, guys, it's Witch.
Idiot, it's Witch.
Oh boy.
Sure, it looks like two V's, but
Yeah.
you know what two V's looks like? A W.
This is a little more divisive, at least on our program. But what did you guys think of the Babadook?
I fell asleep.
There you go. There's like cool scenes in it, but like, good God, it's like
It is-
some of the like. We went on this whole rant about like
It is half a good movie.
it's half a good movie.
The first
So
half.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna look. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it's good. But I fell asleep and I just haven't gotten around to rewatching it.
Yeah.
All I
Yeah.
know is what I did see. That kid was a little bastard.
Yeah.
And if something was coming, he deserved it.
Oh, man. There's
The last movie that we saw was Hell or High Water. That was pretty good.
yeah. We were just planning before you guys came out. We were just planning on we were going to go see that because that definitely looks like a keeper.
Yeah, what was the last thing I saw in theaters? Was it Suicide Squad? Jesus.
Mm.
Oh man.
No,
Ben Foster, who is in Hell or High Water, is also a keeper. He
Yeah.
can be in any movie.
Oh, he's fantastic. He's
Yeah.
in a great movie called is it The Messenger or The Messengers? It's about him and Woody Harrelson play. They are the part of the military that has to go inform families of loved ones that were killed in action, and it is like it is one of the most like harrowing, just
Heavy.
movies you'll ever see. But those two performances are fantastic in it, especially Ben Foster.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wins the badass award. I think like in everything I see him in, he's probably the most badass dude.
Well, he makes really smart choices with movies too.
What about The Mechanic, Jake?
The Mechanic with
Jason Statham?
That's all you, man.
You said
That's all you. The Mechanic with Jason Statham.
you said he makes
Somebody
great.
just like randomly tried to bring up Jason Statham.
I've been
He
there.
might be
Yeah.
known to do that.
we all have our man crushes, and I feel like Jason Statham is Sam's. Is that fair to say?
I can only get one.
Well, you could have crushes. You could have multiple, but I feel like
Michael
you're-
Fassbender is definitely one of Jake's.
he's good.
Yeah. We've seen Shame, so we've
Yeah.
seen all of Michael Fassbender.
Dude.
Michael Shannon.
Michael Shannon.
Do you guys like Midnight
I'm
Special?
just gonna say like random.
Michaels, yeah.
Random like
Oh, right.
awesome actors.
Yeah.
We did see Midnight Special, and Michael Shannon is one of my favorites, and Jeff Nichols, who did that, and Take Shelter, and the producer who produces those movies for him, Brian Kavanaugh Jones. They're all my heroes.
I mean, it was a entertain. I mean, and of course, Kirsten Dunst has been kind of doing her.
I love
own
Kirsten Dunst.
Well, I mean, she's on season 2 of Fargo.
Yeah.
She's in Midnight Special. She's kind of doing this like Renaissance thing that I guess you could trace far back as maybe Melancholia.
Melancholia was super disturbing, but really good.
I've always wanted to rewatch that, and I just can't do it to myself.
I can't
again.
either. Like I bought it, and then of course the next day I put it on Netflix. I was like, God damn it! But
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful that I want to watch it again, but I'm like, I don't ever want to have to feel that way.
yeah,
though.
it's just. And this is going to sound really lame and stupid, but like it came out the same year that everyone was saying the world was going to end. In 2012, that all the Mayan stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember I was watching.
So did Roland Emmerich with
Yeah,
the movie.
that's right.
2012.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I was working at a Blockbuster, and a kid came up really worried. He's like, "What do I do if the world ends?" I was like, "You just follow John Cusack. You'll be good." And he's
Yeah.
like, "What does that mean?" But no,
Say
I
anything.
Yeah, I remember
The
when.
dumbest question I've ever heard in my life. If the world ends, you end too.
Yeah, that's right.
You
Yeah.
die.
Yeah.
The world dies. You
yeah,
die.
that's right. But no, I remember watching Melancholia, and I was like, Jesus Christ, what if the world does end in December of 2012? But no, that's I feel like that was kind of like her big, like, I'm going to start doing some really good
Renaissance?
shit. Yeah, Renaissance.
Yeah, forget the reconnaissance.
Yeah, give the Kirsten Dunst
Yeah. You know what killed the reconnaissance? Free State of Jones.
I didn't see. Did it even come out?
It came out.
In the blink of an eye, yeah.
It came out and it left, and it was not the greatest.
Yeah, I feel like it was like 3 weeks, and it was just gone. They were just
if that. Even Steve Jobs.
My theater
lasted
had
longer.
it for 2 weeks.
Okay,
which is usually the minimum that you can.
You're contractually obligated to.
Unless it's Star Wars, then it's 4 weeks.
Yeah.
They've earned that.
I think the last thing I saw Matthew McConaughey in was those pictures at the Olympics.
Yeah. Having a good old time. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like he was having a good old time, and nobody was bothering him.
I feel like he would be the coolest hang.
What wasn't he in Texas
so cool
Chainsaw?
That you just call it a hang.
Wasn't he in
Texas Chainsaw 91 or 94
Yes.
with Renee
Renee
Zellweger.
New
New
Zellweger.
generation.
New
Yeah.
generation.
I remember I was at military school and someone had that like tucked away in their DVD collection. I was like, "Give me this right now! I have to watch
Yeah,
it."
they were more willing to to display their porn than they were the new generation.
Oh yeah, this is the McConaughey Texas Chainsaw. What a weird movie! What a weird movie!
What was that? The 3D one with Alessandra Daddario?
Oh, just
Gosh,
Texas Chainsaw.
she's the best.
She is fantastic.
Get 'em, bro.
She's
Yeah.
just delightful to look at.
Yeah, speaking of True Detective, but
She had a great role in that.
yeah, she did.
As will she in Baywatch.
We saw was it San Andreas that she's in with The Rock?
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. It wasn't the greatest movie of all time, but it had The Rock, who's super
I love
charming.
that because The Rock is just the best,
Yeah.
and she's amazing. And I just want to see The Rock utilize every mode of transportation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really
He just
does.
needed the train. I think that's all
Yeah.
that he was missing was
Yeah.
the train travel.
Like the boat, the truck, the helicopter.
That's true. He really does. He's hanging off helicopters. He's doing it
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. Hanging out with Colton Haynes from Arrow.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember they're like, "Oh, Colton Haynes is in this movie." Oh, Colton Haynes is not in this movie.
Anymore. Yeah, there
Yeah.
it goes. But to bring it back to Cannibal.
We digress.
Yeah. We have conversation. I like to think of these programs as a conversation.
Yeah.
It's like Inside the Actor's Studio, and I'm James Lipton. What is your favorite curse word?
Shit.
That's a good one.
Fuck, yeah. Solid.
So you can modify fuck wad, fuck stick, fuckhead.
And in
Stick
today's
is so good.
it depends on if you're texting or if you're saying it out loud. Like, I love texting motherfucker because everybody's going to say that differently when they read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm about to do some
But
mother.
I'm not a big
Yeah.
mother-fucker sayer.
That
I
makes
say
sense.
fuck back.
He does say fuck bag.
Fuck
Fuck
bag.
bag.
The
Interesting.
best insult I've ever heard when I was at military school was we were like marching to like first mess or doing like whatever, and it was a Marine who said it because the Marines are like stand-up comedians. They have like this insane improv ability with curse words, and I swear to God, this is what he said that we looked like a bag of smashed assholes, and I thought that was like the best, the best thing I've ever heard. I was like, what does that look like? Like I don't know, but. That's the best phrase I've ever heard in my entire life in terms of any
Smash
kind.
holes.
Smash holes, a bag of bag of smash holes.
That's pretty amazing.
So how far do you how much is the first arc of how many issues is the first arc of Cannibal?
Well, we're doing 4 issues, and then the trade, and then the next 4 issues. So we're doing like little 4-issue chunks.
Mm. Is it going to be kind of like True Detective mode where it's different settings, or is it all in Willow?
No, it's all in Willow, and it's exploring all the people that you're meeting in the first arc. So we're not really deviating from the core group of people that we're introducing.
Maybe.
Fair enough.
Oh.
Maybe it's true.
I feel like it is true.
We'll see.
We haven't. I mean, we
Stay
haven't.
tuned.
We haven't read past
You
issue
let
1.
us know what you want.
Ooh.
Oh.
No, you never for all writers out there, never write to the fans.
Yeah.
That's true.
No matter
I
how,
didn't say that.
Yeah. No matter how personable and knowledgeable about Wyatt Earp they are.
Or Batman '89.
If
If you guys want to throw just a copy of the VHS in the background in one of the scenes, that's cool.
Yeah,
you know,
this takes place
Just
in
like a little wink to us.
Yeah. The book takes place in 1995. You can totally have like
Yeah.
Or a laser disc.
we would be all about it.
94.
94.
94,
You know what?
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm going to fire Sam
Accurate.
right now for getting that.
No, I was commenting on how accurate you were. That was,
Ah.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Well, congratulations, Sam. You're rehired.
thank you. I'll
Good job.
put that on my resume. Put that on the old
When they
LinkedIn account.
fired.
Yeah, fired. Like dates of employment. Why does it say that you stopped working on this date, but also started working again on this date?
I was fired for a minute.
It's like a whole story, man.
It's a whole thing, man.
Just
It's
listen to this episode.
Yeah.
You'll get it.
Yeah. It's my
You don't want to
life.
make people listen to this episode, do you?
Yeah.
yes.
So, yeah, but I mean, you guys are welcome on any time. This has been a delightful experience. Do you guys have anything you want to plug before we sign off, other than Cannibal #1 available in comic shops everywhere on Wednesday, October 5th on Comixology and comic book stores?
I think right before that, the volume 2 of Sons of Devil comes out. So, or somewhere around there, volume 2 of Sons of Devil comes out. So look for that as well.
And we'll be at New York Comic Con.
And we're going to be at New York Comic Con.
Well, if you guys want to go see a horror movie, we're all going to be there too.
Yeah.
We work on the image booth.
We'll be at.
Well, your homework is to find out what's playing
There we go.
October 5th weekend.
We can do that.
There might be some specialty because it's Halloween month. There might be some fun stuff at the little theaters there.
Do you guys like the slaughtered lamb in Greenwich Village?
It sounds so familiar.
It is an American Werewolf in London themed bar in Greenwich Village.
Loosely themed, like it's
Let's
not
just
like
say yes, we like it. We're in.
when I lived in New York, it was my favorite bar to go to, save for when I wanted to do karaoke on the weekends. So you're more than welcome to come drink with us during the weekend.
Yeah, because we'll be there. We'll be working the booth and all that.
Are you going to be at the bar mostly, or?
Where? I mean, I feel like we usually New York's a little different, right? Because we don't go to as many parties as we do in San Diego.
I think it's a little more free roam after the show.
Yeah, we've got the big Image Comics party, which last year was at Bowlmore, but I don't think they're going to do it because that party kind of blew. But not because of the Image event crew, but because of the venue. But
Bowlmore is a pretty.
There really wasn't a lot of bowling going on.
Yeah,
I felt like bowling was all log jams.
Yeah, and it took me like 45 minutes to get a drink. It was like so poorly run. It was like
What was the drink?
It was a White Russian, which I drink like chocolate milk. So I waited 45 minutes for a drink that took me approximately 30 seconds to consume.
And it's about as easy to make as a chocolate milk too.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you, order 2 next time.
Yeah.
Drink ratio.
But we'd totally love to hang out with you guys. And again, you're welcome back on the show anytime. And yeah, get both volumes of Sons of the Devil. Get all of Brian's issues of The Flash or Injustice or Forever Evil Rogues Rebellion. And of course, Cannibal issue 1 is out in comic book shops everywhere on Wednesday, October 5th, and on Comixology. Guys, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
I
It's
just
fun.
clapped for myself.
Yeah,
Hey,
we'll clap
that's
too.
fine
Very
here.
good.
Yeah.
There we go.
And joining us, we've got Matias Bergara, the artist on Cannibal. He's also done work with the Sons of Anarchy comic. And I mean, we've been looking over some of his art. And
Before you came on, we were just scrolling through your Twitter page at all the different just sketches and art you've done. And we're like, holy shit, you drew Yoda, you drew Kylo Ren, you drew Alf, you drew George Lucas.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I have like many different tastes, and I love pop culture a lot. Like many of us artists, and most of everybody in the comic world.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe when I'm doing some warm-ups before starting to do inking or penciling, I will just draw whatever I'm watching or reading or whatever.
Yeah.
So
That's fantastic.
that's the reason.
Well, I mean, you're in the right place because we're all over the place with pop culture. Real quick, one of my favorite pieces I saw that you drew before you came on was you drew a great picture of Frank Miller with the bat shirt, and that was one of the coolest ones I saw that you did.
Oh yeah, it's really funny. I love the guy. I love his art and everything, and I think he's turning into sort of one of his characters.
yeah, because you had like hashtag
Started
Rogues Gallery or
like-
something for it.
Yeah, but yeah, when I did that, I saw it and I thought, oh man, I hope nobody thinks I'm making fun of him.
No, I think it's
or whatever, because I really respect him.
Yeah.
I admire him, like from when I was like a little teenager artist. Like most of us love him all the way.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Who would you say are some of your big artistic influences?
Oh well, it's just too many. I'm a little like I have too many of those. I don't have a favorite one. What I usually do is just I name just one, because if I do like 2 or 3 or 5, I don't know. It just doesn't sound fair. But my biggest influence maybe RJ, the guy who did Tintin.
Oh yeah,
European comics. I think he's the main reason, because I am doing comics now, because I love the way he is. He was a great storyteller. He invented many things in the 30s and 40s. And his work is great. It's great to read. It looks fantastic, and more than an artistic influence, it's a storytelling influence. And I always read him, and I love all the Tintin books, and all that is a huge influence. And also maybe more expressive artists like Bill Sienkiewicz, of course. He's now a very internationally loved artist today. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, we were not so many, the Bill Sienkiewicz fans.
Well, I think a lot of it was his just some of his cover work. Like Sienkiewicz's cover work is just so haunting, something so beautiful about it. But with with Cannibal, you're kind of exploring, the Everglades, the backwoods of Florida. And, of course, with Sons of Anarchy, you're kind of looking at the American Southwest. So you've kind of got, the more desolate parts of our country, down pat artistically. Like, how much research do you just look at, with Sons of Anarchy, I suppose you have the show, but with something like Cannibal, was it just a lot of photo reference for those environments?
Yeah, I used a lot of photo reference, but I also love nature a lot. I go on trips, like nature trips, and on boating and canoes and stuff. I love, the flora and the fauna, and discovering new places. And I used lots of. I've never been to Florida or the Everglades, but I've been in a few swamps and in general nature. So I love that, and yes, I used lots of reference from both photos and real life, and I was just taking lots of taking small notes on plants, on how the places look, and I also received many tips from Brian and Jennifer.
How's it been working with those two?
Oh well, yeah, they gave me very interesting ideas about how to depict, the South, and to give a sort of image of very small towns, very lost in time, kind of from another era, and also very decayed, to give it a sense of nature taking over the place. And the story is a horror story, so the place had to look a little dark, a little menacing. And so I tried to look at how some of the ghost towns of the South looked, especially around the Everglades and other swampy areas. Not only the Everglades, but other parts of Florida and the South too.
I mean, one of the big things I like about this debut issue is that you also, you do a fantastic job kind of capturing just the emotion. Like there's this idea that the people that are infected with the cannibal virus don't want to eat other people, but they have no choice. And there's that moment in the beginning of this first issue where the dude's just like, please, get away. And I, of course, as
horror books go,
as horror books go, people are going to die. It's going to be brutal and bloody. But how do you kind of balance how much leeway does Brian and Jennifer kind of give you with like balancing those horror elements with those more humanistic elements?
Well, the script is great, and it's very clear about these situations and what is going on with the characters. So it's not really very hard for me to convey these things in the art or in the characters. Like when that guy is just, he's eating the kid, and he obviously doesn't want to. And it's not so hard to put yourself in the place of a person going through that kind of thing, it's terrible. It's like a psychotic crisis. It's coming, and you don't want to, but it's going to happen anyway. And it's very terrible, and for both the victim and for the killer in this case. And it has a lot to do of what is going to happen to the characters. Not only these two guys in the first issue, but what is going to happen with the whole town there, and to the characters who have to live with that, let's call it sickness, or maybe a pandemic or whatever, but people are turning into cannibals against their will, and people are trying to figure out how to keep on their lives while that is happening all around. But it's a sort of a very quiet pandemic. It's not like thousands of zombies running in the streets out of control, but it's more like something that is lurking slowly under what goes on in the common people lives, and that has a lot to do with the setting, which is a very small town, where people live slowly and kind of amidst the nature and stuff.
Now, as you mentioned, and it very much is for our listeners at home. It's very much like a horror book, like you were saying, very dark. There's a lot of darkness and shadow, though again, still very much rooted in human emotions. This isn't like a big, sensationalist horror story. But were you always kind of a horror fan?
Yeah, of course. Horror is it's something that is always alluring and very very attractive for an artist, because you can explore some of the most extreme aspects of emotions on people. It's also very thrilling when doing it, and also when reading it or watching it in a movie. And not just like the horror in the most basic forms, like only blood or gore, or formulaic formulas, like, I don't know, maybe jump scares and stuff, but more of the psychological horror. And the more complex varieties of horror are the ones that I love the most. Sorry if I'm taking lots of pauses when speaking, because I'm trying to find the right words.
Está bien, está
English
bien.
is not my natural language, so I take lots of pauses to find the right words.
Oh, it's quite. I would venture a guess that your English is better than my Spanish, and my Spanish is actually decent. So, I actually about 4 years ago now. Gosh, I studied abroad in Buenos Aires, and of course you just had to grab the ferry to cross the River Plata, and you'd be in Uruguay. So
yeah,
it was.
How did you like the people there?
It was nice. They kind of. In Buenos Aires, they we've had people from Argentina on the show, but I mean, they're not going to listen to this episode. Some of them could be a little.
Come on, they're not going to listen to this.
Yeah, no, you're right. No,
we have a very friendly rivalry,
no, it's kind of like Portland and Seattle, totally. But there is, or Boston and New York, but there's definitely that's not that's not a friendly rivalry, but they kind of.
They're cocky.
They're cocky. Yeah, that's a polite way to put it. Yes, they know how cool their city looks, and they're just kind of like, oh, we look a little more European than the rest of South America. So yeah, that's kind of. But I had a lot of good times in South America. That was fine, and of course the people of Uruguay and Montevideo were very nice, very welcoming.
Yes. It's a small country, but people have like really big hearts.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing, right? I mean, the smaller countries tend to be the more like welcoming ones, because it's that small town mentality, just like in the book Cannibal, which is available in shops everywhere on October 5th. But like maybe it's that small town mentality that kind of brings people close together and more welcoming for visitors.
Yeah, of course. We also live maybe a slower pace of life here, because Buenos Aires it's a metropolis. I mean, people in Buenos Aires, it's like 10 million people on the city, not in the center only, but on the suburbs too. But it's still 10 or 11 million people. And here in Uruguay, in the whole country, we're maybe 3.5 million people. So in the whole country, not just in one city. So there are two very different realities, two very different ways of living, and also two very different kinds of cities and landscapes. But yeah, to me, it's kind of easier to relate to the kind of people and the kind of mentality of the South. And also, I know that in the South, people love barbecue and stuff.
We definitely do.
Which we do also. We have maybe the best barbecue in the world, only rivaling with Argentina.
I have to say, the parrilla in South America, and just some of the best beef I've had in my entire life has been in South America, if not the best.
Yeah, we maybe even way too much meat. I don't know, it's maybe like 200 pounds annually per person. I mean, it's too much. Yeah, it's a lot, because people eat meat in so many ways and frequently during the week, so it's a huge amount of meat, especially through barbecue, which we all do. Like on weekends, when you get together with your friends or whatever, you end up doing barbecues everywhere.
Oh yeah, the choripane and the chorizo, and yeah.
Oh yes.
You're making
great ways to shorten your lifespan.
Yeah. Yeah, but you die happy.
Yeah, you die with a greasy smile.
That's right.
We're right outside D.C., which is part of, technically considered part of the American South, and so we fry everything here.
Yeah.
And it's delicious, but we know we're gonna die. Like that just kind of is accepted. We fry candy bars, we fry Oreo cookies, we fry. Really, just
Oreo cookies, fried Oreo cookies.
Yeah,
I mean,
look it up, man. Look it up.
As an American Southerner, I gotta wonder, why the hell do people do that? It seems so unappetizing to me.
I can have like one, and then I'm like, why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah, you can't sleep for like a week.
Yeah, because your heart's like struggling to like beat. It's like, why did you just do this to
me? Yeah.
Your body knows it's wrong.
Yeah, but so right.
Yeah, that's right.
So, Matias, something we ask everybody that comes on the show: what are you currently geeking out over? What are you currently enjoying?
Oh, well, just I don't have like many. I don't have a lot of available time because every day I'm drawing and trying to hit all the deadlines. But currently, last thing that blew my mind was Stranger Things with. I think everybody in the world has seen it, but I just loved it. I mean, I love it, and it made me go back to my old Stephen King books and read some part of it again, and I just love the show. I love all the 80s stuff. I mean, being a child of the 80s, so it was great to see those things again and get back to that feeling. I mean, to that sort of kids horror and stuff. I loved it.
I mean, I'm so glad that Netflix in South, because I'm never sure, because Netflix in Canada doesn't get the same stuff that we do.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad to hear that it's. I mean, it's not like I made it, but it's still so cool to hear that like it's spread to South America. Because yeah, totally. Like watching those first couple episodes, you know, I brought out my old Nintendo, my old '80s Nintendo, and everything, and all the all the relics from the '80s that I still own and love.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I remember I was joking that you are officially an 80s related show when you have a character watching the opening to the He-Man cartoon. Like you have to have that reference, otherwise nothing else matters. But you know, just in the first episode alone, you know, it pans over to the kids playing, you know, Dungeons and Dragons, and it's got the John Carpenter Thing poster in the background. You're like, all right, I know exactly what's going on here. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and you know, the teenagers with the awkward clothing.
Yeah, yeah, definitely the plaid,
the horrible '80s fashion.
Yeah,
it's awesome. I mean, they got it just right.
I still wear those clothes. I still have that bowl haircut.
Yeah, that's why you're a nerd.
Yeah, the clothes are much tighter and smaller on you now. You're still wearing the same clothes that you wore when you were a child.
Yeah, that Space Camp T-shirt doesn't fit so good anymore.
Oh boy.
But yeah, well, Matias, is there anything that you'd like to plug, or anything that you'd like to kind of like to promote before we sign off?
Oh no, just the book goes out on October. I'll try to be in New York Comic Con. I don't know if I'll have the time, but I would love to go there, to be there for when the first issue goes out. But not much. I mean, it's a pleasure to talk to you guys, and I hope we'll have to.
Matias, you know,
we have the chance to talk again.
Well, if you go to New York Comic Con, we'll be at New York Comic Con. So if you want recommendations on some of the best pizza or hot dogs in the city, or if you just want to have a drink, we'll be there.
Oh, great.
So, all right.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So yeah, that was cool.
That was a fun one.
That was a lot of fun. There may have been a disproportionate amount of that interview spent talking about Kyle Higgins
and Batman '89.
Yeah,
it happens.
It does. But no, I mean the book's great. It's just check it out. It'll be in comic book shop everywhere on October 5th and on Comixology. Yeah, I mean, you guys know anything interesting this week?
Oh yes.
I'll let you go first.
Yeah. Usually Chris goes, but I have to talk because my boy's back.
Ooh.
Mel Gibson is back. He's back. I saw
Mel and me.
He was in Bloodfather, which I saw. I rented it on Vudu, our friends at Vudu, because unfortunately,
friends of the show. Vudu.
In a 15-mile radius, it's not playing anywhere. It came out on Friday. Nationwide, I guess, but there really wasn't, I think, any theaters near me playing it, unfortunately. And of course, I've been waiting to see this since I saw the first trailer a couple months back, and it's great. I mean, it's it's hour and 28 minutes. It's a real short, movie if you're looking for something to do.
It's a quickie.
It's a quickie. Mel Gibson is his performance in this
beast.
He's beast mode. He's so vicious and brutal, but also funny. And has his charisma as well. I mean, the basic rundown is his estranged daughter comes out of hiding and seeks his help and money at first because she's got herself in a lot of trouble, and he's an ex-con, 2 years sober, one in the can, one not, one outside in the free world. and it's kind of dealing with his reconnecting with his daughter, and then dealing with these thugs and punks.
She's not my daughter.
She's not my daughter. But it is. I really enjoyed it. I mean, William H. Macy's in it randomly. He's not in it very much, but he plays his
Is
Mel
this
Gibson.
a selling point or a?
I know he's good. He plays Mel's sponsor and best friend.
You're not
And,
selling me.
And I think Mel is fantastic. During the movie, Chris always likes to. It's not even a joke because it's real that I would cast Mel Gibson in anything. He'd be my Leonardo DiCaprio to my Martin Scorsese. Which, oh my God, I did not compare myself to Martin Scorsese at all because that's not even close. But in terms of
record.
In terms of casting somebody, if I had that power, because I think I've said a million times on the podcast that I think Mel Gibson would be the perfect Bruce Wayne in a live action Dark Knight Returns. This movie proves that. But he also has the that kind of humor, sly sense of humor to him, and dark sense of humor as well in this film. Also, watching it, I realized, what the fuck? Why haven't I realized this before? I was rereading a lot of Frank Miller lately, including Born Again, fantastic Daredevil story, maybe the best of all time. And
only Daredevil story I've written or read.
Oh, you've written it?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I'm Frank Miller.
Thanks, Frank Miller. Speaking of Frank Miller, no, I've been rereading All-Star Batman and Robin: The Boy Wonder, which is a book that maybe I'm the only person in the world that likes, but that's okay. I love Frank's boldness with how he writes the Batman.
I'm sure Frank Miller likes it.
The goddamn Batman. And again, if we're just saying, hey, Jake, DC's giving you the reins, I would make an animated All-Star Batman and Robin film, and it would star, I would say Adam West, Mel Gibson as...
Melly Gibbs?
Melly Gibbs as Batman. I think, in that version, he's this vicious, barbaric Batman who laughs before he breaks bones. And I think he'd be fantastic. And again, it's never going to happen because DC, I think, kind of likes to forget that book ever happened, which is a shame because I like it. I mean, it's not the best written Batman story of all time, but I think it's a brutal, interesting, bold take on the character. And I like that. I like when Batman's vicious. I like when he's a mean son of a bitch. And that's why I like Frank Miller's Batman so much. But I mean, again, that was the thing I was really waiting for to see was Bloodfather, and it entertained me thoroughly. And Melly Gibbs kicks a lot of ass in it. And I still haven't seen Don't Breathe yet. I'm waiting for best good friend Kev to be back in town so we can see that. We see all the horror movies together. And I'm really looking forward to that one. And Fede Alvarez and Jane Levy again reuniting after Evil Dead. And it's getting fantastic reviews. And I'm trying to stay away from as much as I can and see it as soon as possible because I don't want any twists or anything spoiled for me. But that's it. Melly Gibbs. Back in only another 2 months, and then he'll be back behind the director's chair for Hacksaw Ridge, which I'm really looking forward to. That movie looks fantastic.
Don't mind me.
But that's what I did.
This week, the big thing that I did yesterday, actually, I drove down to Virginia Beach, which, for those of you not in the know, even though we say it like all the time, we're in the D.C. area, so it's about a 4-hour drive from here. Because Virginia roads are weird and there's always traffic, even though it should only be like a 2-hour drive. But it actually took me like 5 hours. Not that that's the important part of the story. I was at the beach. I was having fun in the sun with a couple of my friends, Devin and Lady who just moved down there. So it was kind of like almost a housewarming party. But yeah, we just I got down there maybe around like 3 or 4 o'clock. And we just went straight to the beach, hung out there for pretty much until sundown, and then ate at this delicious restaurant called Ruby's, which their outdoor seating, all of their tables were like picnic benches on swing kind of thing, so you could rock back and forth while you were eating. It was really cute and lots of fun. And yeah, so hashtag beach life or whatever. And then I've also been getting really into this this podcast called the Welcome to Night Vale. I know it's like 4 years old, so I've had plenty of chances to listen to it and just never got around to it. But it was really cool listening to it on the way down and way back since I'm so backlogged, like almost 100 episodes that I could listen to. But it's a really fun story. It's kind of like existential horror, like kind of like H.P. Lovecraft by way of Douglas Adams style absurdism. And I really, really dig it. It's all told from the perspective, if you haven't listened to it, it's all told from the perspective of basically a radio show. This guy does like the community blotter radio show, and it's all just his episode talking about the events of the day or the week, all the strange occurrences that happen in the town of Night Vale. The house that looks like it exists, but it definitely does not, even though there's two houses next to it that are identical. So therefore it should exist, but we've done extensive tests on it, and it does not exist. Yeah. And then, giant glowing clouds floating over the city that just rain down dead animals.
Nice.
Yeah. And a 5-headed dragon that's running for mayor.
What's worse than a 4-headed dragon?
What?
A 5-headed dragon. Fuck you.
Old halt and grind Jake Bowes.
That's right.
But so I've been enjoying Night Vale. I'm about halfway through the series right now. Sam, you do anything interesting?
I saw my favorite film of the year currently is like Hell or High Water with Chris Pine, Ben Foster, and Jeff Bridges. That's really good. Kind of this like neo-western about these two brothers that are robbing banks in like Midland, Texas, and being chased by Texas Rangers, one of which is Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah. Put him in everything. He's awesome, man. He's basically, if you ever saw his remake with the Coen brothers of True Grit a couple years ago.
I did.
It's basically like a modernized version of that.
Oh, really?
His
I
performance.
enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. So
it's really good. Definitely recommend it. Top marks. Yesterday I was out in Harper's Ferry. I
love that place.
Yeah, I was on the river all day, and I've got like the sunburn to prove it. And I bashed my ass in multiple places on the rocks.
So it was a successful weekend.
It was a fun-filled weekend, man. I got everything I wanted.
Bashing.
Whatever. Bashing, not basting. They're not like...
they should be basting in the glow of your ass.
Yes. Terrific. Magnificent. My magnificent rectum. That's an album title. Or an autobiography.
A Sam Stone story.
Yeah.
it's like the worst Muppet of all time.
Yeah. Hey, kids. Yeah. Now, after Fraggle Rock, my magnificent rectum.
It's a spin-off of My Two Dads or something like that.
So it was, great film, great time with friends on the river. So yeah, that's really, all I've got going. Anything else?
I'm almost, I beat Arkham Knight, like the main story, and I'm almost done with like all the side stuff. And it's just such a fucking great game. It gets very frustrating, like all good games, and very, very difficult, but the cutscenes and the voice acting, from Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill's Joker. It's something else, man, and it's scary, man. Like it's a creepy fucking game. Like it's not like any of the other Arkham games.
I feel like if one of your principal antagonists is the Scarecrow, it kind of goes to the territory.
Yeah, there's like jump scares in a Batman game. That's fucking cool.
How does that work? Because it's mostly third person.
I'll spoil one of them. When you're grappling along Gotham. And you shoot in one of the fucking vantage points, and as you're flying up, Man-Bat pops out and screams in your face, and it's awesome. And you have to deal with Man-Bat. And there's other moments where you're like in the Batcave or in Oracle's, clock tower.
Yeah.
And you're looking around, and all of a sudden the Joker's there, and you turn, and there's another Joker, and there's multiple Jokers. Or you'll be like the point of view of, I guess I'm spoiling a lot, but like the point of view of Commissioner Gordon back from a couple years ago, and Batman just shows up randomly and is in your face. It's not like a sound or anything. You just turn the camera, and he's right there in your face. He's like, "Hello, Jim." And like, Jesus fucking Christ, Batman. Yeah, and he's like, "I've been doing this for years." But no, it's such a great game. I've all the different outfits. I have the Batman of Zero and R outfit, and I just run around and I just fuck people up. It's my favorite thing. I've realized
screaming Zero.
Oh yeah, it's like laughing hysterically as I'm jumping down and running people over the Batmobile. Like I've realized,
I'm high on crystal meth.
Yeah, especially rereading a lot of Frank Miller like Daredevil stuff. One of my favorite I think my favorite thing in comics, more so than like the inspiring moments, the sad moments, the uplifting moments, it's just having a hero punching someone in the face over and over again. It's just my favorite thing in the world. And nobody does it better than Batman and Daredevil.
Nobody does.
It better. And so again, that game's been taking my whole time. I started Mad Max, but I can't put Arkham Knight down.
Mead Meeks.
And I've also finished episode 1 of the Telltale Batman, which is very cool. The combat system that is very interesting. There's some really cool. It was a very interesting experiment to be playing those two Batman games side by side, and I enjoyed both equally for different reasons.
My two bats. I did want to make a quick announcement. Finally, in its 4th week, Suicide Squad is no longer the #1 movie in the country. I don't know if that means anything to anyone else, but I thought that it was quite funny that even with all the shit that it's been getting, it's still like the
Look
highest
at the Transformers
grossing.
movies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like not to say that it's the first time that it's ever happened, but like we've had such a lull in movies in general the last month that nothing was able to bump it out of the spot.
Not even Bloodfather? Damn it.
Nah. Until Don't Breathe. Don't
Yeah,
Breathe.
that's cool, man.
Bumped it out of the #1 slot.
So yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, man. Well,
Not even Kubo and the Two Strings, a kids movie that's supposed to be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's like all stop motion animation. Like it's actually like
the same people that did Coraline, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a like I've seen a couple animated GIF sets and whatnot of like the making of, and like it's all stop motion figures against a green screen background.
Oh yeah. Well, our friend Ryan Nichols, who we've interviewed on here before, he's like a massive fan of that. He's been posting a lot of cool behind the scenes information about it. I definitely want to check that one out.
Yeah.
All right,
but even that wasn't able to bump out Suicide Squad.
Yeah, pity. But yeah, thanks again to Brian Buccellato, Jennifer Young, and Matias Bergara for coming on. Again, Cannibal issue 1 is out on Wednesday, October 5th. Great little book, great little horror comic. I feel like it's more a play on kind of like contagion stories than it is about zombie stories.
Yes.
Fantastic. Definitely check it out. So thanks again for those guys coming on. We'll see you guys next week. This has been another installment of Catching Up. I'm Sam.
I'm Chris.
I'm Jake.
Adios.
Thank you very much.
Good night, Eric Bana.
This has been another Geek Out production. If you enjoyed what you heard, hey, we've got a new commentary every Monday. We've got a special episode every Friday. Of course, there's the usual Catching Up show every Wednesday. And you get book club episodes just about every Tuesday these days. Thanks for listening.